Last week I asked you in Discord, send me your sounds and I will improve them. So you indeed send a lot of sounds, and today I'll go through them and make them sound better. Let's start with the sound number 1, issue fake perception. This is a really interesting example of how different listening equipment affects how you perceive the sound. On monitors, this kick sounds great, but notice how it changes depending on how close the microphone is to the speaker. So if you have an untreated room, consider using headphones since they will output the sound straight into your ears. This kick doesn't really punch and has some cracking sound from mid to top. We will need a few layers: deep low end, rich mids, and clicky tops. First of all, apply high cut and fade the sound a bit. This will be the bottom of our kick. Second, take the original kick and pitch it up 1 octave. And limit mids. Now it's left to fill our top frequencies. Take the kick again and fade it out. Add high cut to get rid of that crackle, and add distortion. This creates a click on top. While playing all the layers together, you can hear some tonal resonances. This isn't really a good thing for a kick unless you intentionally want it to be tonal. Let's find those resonances and EQ them out. Slap a limiter to avoid hard clipping, and that's it. Different transients, mids and lows will give you different results, so make sure to experiment with that. Sound number 2, issue, not really a gunshot. The main problem with this sound is that it doesn't really sound like a gunshot. Gunshots don't fade in with volume, they start with the punch and then they fade out. As you can see, if we take this part of the sound, it starts to go into the right direction. To create a proper gunshot, you will need an aggressive low end, clicky tops, rich mids, and a nice tail. To achieve this, let's divide this sound into layers. Let's focus on making one gunshot for now. First step, add a saturated sine wave and make sure it's not too long. Take one shot from the original sound, fade it out so it's clicky, EQ, and add distortion. This will be our transient. For the mid-tops, take the same shot and EQ it, add some distortion afterwards. Now EQ the main one. On the whole group of layers, apply reverb for more of a realistic feel or add a tail manually. Now resample, and you can use it however and wherever you need. Sound number 3, issue, clicks and resonances. There's a few things you can do to clean up this sound. Clicks. This sound is either like a mouse or a mouth click. In both cases, this is a pretty unnecessary element unless you're using it to layer with the percussion, but even in that case, it's better to keep it on a separate track. There's unfortunately no way to edit this out within the waveform since the sound has been blended with reverb. If I tried, it would sound like this. But there are tools capable of cleaning it. RX Mouth Declick. Simply slap it on the sound, adjust the sensitivity. Usually one instance will do it, but in this case I think because of the reverb we need a few more. Resonating frequencies. This sound really pierces eardrums. The main problem is in the highest frequencies. You can simply reduce them with an EQ or use a resonance suppressor like so. Sound number 4, issue too robotic. This is a great melody, but the flow is too robotic. You can simply improve it with the velocity changes. You can either change the velocity manually or in Ableton you can also do it by using the randomize button. or a velocity random MIDI effect. You can also try offsetting the notes a little bit for not so robotic playback. I like to do it using grooves in Ableton. After hitting apply, make sure to correct the notes that stand out. Introducing such changes will help your melody flow smoother. Sound number 5. Issue: lack of punch. This is a great snare, but it could be a little bit punchier. To increase its punch, a simple way to do so is by using a transient shaper. In this case, I'm also adding a bit of a New York compression to reduce dynamics and to bring the tail up. If you don't have a transient shaper, you can manually write a volume automation and make the spike at the beginning. Then apply a soft clipper to get rid of that unnecessary peak while still retaining the punch. Sound number 6. Issue: weak and weird. The main problem with this sound is that it kinda sounds weird, and in my opinion it's not too usable. Anyways, there's no sound that cannot be turned into something cool and actually useful. So let's do that. Let's flip it into a new sound. Step 1. Put chords underneath. Now get rid of tonality with a frequency shifter. Add this effect to make the sound kinda more dense. Then volume automation to match the rhythm. Now vocoder. Set as input the chords that we made earlier. Add this beefing up rack with lots of OTT, distortion and a vocoder. Put some reverb. And a limiter plus some EQ. And this is what we got. Sound number 7. Muddy. This sound is straight up 100% mud. A simple fix for it is to do this type of EQ. We are reducing frequencies around 200 to 500 Hz, that's mainly where the mud is located, and we are boosting highs. Depending on how much highs you want, you don't really need to boost them much, although they will give you a cleaner tonal bounce. For this sound, I would layer it with some impact. Sound number 8. Issue: too thin. This sound is really thin. It's happening because it's lacking in middle and low frequencies. Tops won't fill the frequency spectrum enough for a strong sound, you need mids and lows too. A simple fix would be to duplicate the sound, add a frequency shifter, shift it down, then add some beef effects like OTT, distortion, vocoder, and a transient shaper for more of a clicky sound. Process the top layer too. The sound is also really spiky. To control this a bit, simply use a soft clipper. And the reason for a clipper is that it will not lose punch. Sound number 9. Issue: super annoying. I think the main reason is that there's some weird modulation going on, sort of like a flanger, or from a sound being detuned. Nonetheless, this makes the sound really harsh. Best idea would be to reduce that in a synth, but if you have Soothe, you can do that in the plugin. This pitch automation makes it kinda too much. I chopped it up and tweaked the pitch of the individual chops to create more of a, let's say, acceptable melody. Also add some EQ and OTT. This sounds okay. I'd recommend though to make a completely new sound out of it or tweak it so it's not so harsh. Sound number 10. Issue: not beefy, spiky, no ending. We can do a bunch of things to the sound. Control the dynamics, beef it up, and put it into space. Add a limiter so the spikes of the sound don't jump after a certain point. Don't limit too much, because the sound will then be too steady and it needs a bit of the volume fade in, fade out for the movement. Add OTT, distortion, vocoder, again OTT, and EQ. Compress that low end to equal out the volume of it a bit. Duplicate the limiter at the end because the effects are now changing its volume and we need a little bit more control. For a smoother ending, add a reverb and automate its mix knob. Opening a reverb will make the sound smoothly fade out. So that's it for this video, hope it was helpful. I'll drop all the improved sounds on my Discord server, so feel free to join, link in the description. And maybe in the future I'll do something similar, maybe with your presets this time. Also, if you're looking for quality sounds, check out oversampled.us, and if you're looking for quality plugins, check out plugins.oversampled.us. As always, have a great day and see